Mercedes-Benz messing around with emissions software. EV sales up 102% in Europe. JLR top tech. Big strikes in the auto industry in America. EU 100% carbon neutral fuel. Mercedes-Benz hydrogen truck. 10% tariff on vehicles leaving the UK market going to the EU. My name is Paul Callan and welcome to this week's MotorZen News. Mercedes-Benz in Germany has been messing around with the emission software. We're all familiar with Volkswagen and Dieselgate. Similar situation appears to have occurred in Germany, where the German Transport Authority has discovered that some of Mercedes products are using defeat devices on Euro 6 models. Mercedes has agreed to recall and fix these vehicles with a software update. But I suppose the question remains, if you could fix them with a software update so easily, why would you not have them that way in the first place? And the reason obviously is because by modifying the software and having the vehicles over polluting, they were driving nicer and performing better. So when you now modify the software, they will drive less nice and less well. And now maybe Mercedes-Benz could be facing a legal challenge to this situation like Volkswagen did. EV sales in Europe up 102% in August. In August there was 197,000 electric vehicles sold in Europe. They now represent 20% share of the European market. The overall market was up 21%. That's 13 months of consecutive growth. So each month has been an improvement on the previous for the last 13 months, but still the current market is not hitting the same numbers as it did pre-COVID. Staying with this relationship between EV and internal combustion, Marelli has closed a factory in Italy, and they said that the reason they closed it, the factory is producing engine parts, and what they're saying is that the factory is no longer sustainable due to the drop in internal combustion engine sales. So I think this is a scenario that we're going to see more and more around Europe, where jobs and factories are going to close because they're no longer necessary to make up all the components that are needed to make internal combustion vehicles. So much less needed to make EV vehicles, and this is the maybe not very attractive side of EV stuff that's coming down the track. European Truck Challenge. There was a test carried out in Europe on fuel efficiency on trucks. Scania 420R won the competition. It was 4.9% more efficient than the next truck up. So the second place truck was 4.9% less fuel efficient to the Scania. The Scania, the competition was for long haul trucks, 450 brake horsepower, 2200 to 2400 Newton meters. They hauled 33.6 tonne over the course of the competition, and the calculation was that if you run the Scania 420R for 150,000 kilometres, which is kind of the average mileage of a truck in Europe per year, you would save €3,000 per truck per year. Goes to show you the type of savings there are on fuel efficiencies when you can get fuel efficiencies on trucks. And then sometimes maybe I have conversations with people in Ireland and they're saying about the trucking industry, and I say, well, imagine you've got 500 trucks and you save €3,000 per truck, because that's the type of mass now you're seeing in the trucking industry. So small savings are massive because the operations are running so many trucks. Interesting, when you drill down into this, one of the reasons they said the truck was so efficient was because of its active cruise control and its active prediction system. So as opposed to the vehicle, running up to the back of another vehicle and having to change up through the gearbox numerous times over the journey, the active prediction system was able to gradually slow the vehicle down and gradually speed it up. Something that you struggle with to get across to some drivers sometimes, but that's the type of fuel savings you can get when you can manage that side of things. There is a competition going to start on the 15th of October over in the UK for Jaguar Land Rover technicians, and Glenn Halton has won the competition for Ireland. He's come out the top technician for Ireland for Jaguar Land Rover. He works in Johnson and Perrott in Cork, and he's going to go over to the UK on the 15th of October, and he's going to go into a competition with 80 other technicians from all over the world. They're going to be tested for 5 days in an intensive competition to see how they go. So already a great success for Glenn in becoming the top technician in Ireland, but it's going to be interesting to see how he performs among the 80 finalists over in the UK on the 15th of October. A lot of turmoil in the motor manufacturing in America. 18,600 workers are on strike right now as we speak in America. A lot of vehicles not getting manufactured, a lot of parts not getting produced in America at the moment. $1.6 billion is what they reckon to this point has been lost to the American economy. But what's happening now is police departments, fire departments, ambulance operations are saying we're in trouble, we're running out of spare parts. And the concern is now that if this happens, that the public may turn against the auto workers in America. But a lot of unhappy workers and a very unhappy situation in the American automotive industry at the moment. In the EU, a couple of months ago, we reported on the fact that the EU was backing down a little bit in that it was allowing internal combustion engines to exist beyond 2035, provided they used efuel. And it looked like that pressure was coming from probably predominantly the German car manufacturers. Well, Europe has kind of moved the position a little bit on this, and what they've said is, yep, you can run it on efuel, provided it's 100% carbon neutral. And you must put a device on that vehicle that if it's not 100% carbon neutral, it enters it, that the vehicle has to have some sort of a system that prevents it from starting. So interesting as to how that would be achieved. But the eFuel Alliance, coming together of all those people involved in developing eFuel, have said this is impossible. We can't achieve this. We can't achieve 100% carbon neutral. So right now as it stands, it looks like yes, Europe has said you can run internal combustion engines beyond 2035, but you actually can't produce a fuel to the requirements they need to meet that. So it looks like ICE inadvertently is banned. It's going to be interesting to watch how this plays out. Obviously, there's Europe on one side and there's the manufacturers on the other fighting against each other in this scenario. With Mercedes-Benz, they've just tested a hydrogen truck in Germany. The truck went from the Mercedes Research and Development Centre to Berlin. It travelled 1,000 kilometres on hydrogen. Now this is hydrogen fuel cell, but it's done 1,000 kilometres. And okay, question is, what were the conditions? The conditions were fully loaded, 40 tonne, 1,000 kilometres, 40 tonne hydrogen fuel cell, which is effectively an electric vehicle where the electricity has been generated by the hydrogen on board. It works. It's working. They've done it. It's been verified by TÜV in Germany. They monitored it. They certified it the whole way along to prove that it was correct. Mercedes are saying they're going to have this truck introduced by the end of the decade. So, look, there's a vehicle after the truck vehicle after doing 1,000 kilometres, and it didn't emit any CO2. So some of this stuff looks like it's real and it's happening. Staying with Europe, it looks like that vehicles that are manufactured in the UK and exported into Europe by the letter of the law under the European system, it looks like these vehicles are meant to have a 10% tariff applied to them, because there's a story coming out here now where the European Automobile Manufacturers Association are lobbying Europe very hard not to implement that. Yeah, for sure it wouldn't be good for the UK industry, and it wouldn't be good for the industry as a whole in Europe that's been attacked so strongly from China. So that's the argument that the European automobile manufacturers are putting up. But it does look like by the letter of the law, if it's manufactured in the UK and exported into the EU, it's meant to have a 10% tariff on it. That's it. Thanks for watching. And yeah, we've got a bit of a loyal following there. A couple of hundred people every week are tuning in to watch us. We're all trade people, and that's what we're trying to get, all people from the industry. So again, if there's anybody out there that you think might be interested in following us, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the usual stuff. Try and just promote us a little bit more out there if you could. But thanks for watching. See you next week.